Southern praying mantis boxing, although perhaps more esoteric than its northern kung fu cousin, is a powerful short force combat system. Created in the 18th century by Abbot Sam Dat, the Southern mantis style displays the characteristic authority, speed, and body structure of the praying mantis. Sam Dat passed the art to his student Li Xiamsi, who traveled throughout Guangzhou province teaching the mantis system. It was in Guangzhou where Li Xiamsi taught Cheng. Although Cheng traveled to Hong Kong where he transmitted the mantis system to Wang Yukong, who famously introduced the Iron Ring training to the style, it was Lam Sang, also known as Lam Wingfei, who would become the central figure in spreading Southern praying mantis in the modern era. By the 1920s, Lam Sang was a young man studying under Cheng Yu-chung when Abbot Li Xiamsi decided to take him as a closed-door student. Lam Sang spent many years with Li Xiamsi as both disciple and close companion of the master, and received the full transmission of Jook praying mantis boxing. By the early 1930s, the first engagements of the Sino-Japanese War had begun. With the Japanese occupation of Manchuria. It was the beginning of a long and bloody conflict as the Japanese Empire sought total dominance of the Asiatic mainland. With the onset of hostilities, Li Xiamsi and Lam Sang returned to Hong Kong, where they rejoined with Cheng Yu-chung. It was during this period that Li instructed Lam Sang to open a combined Ditta, or traumatology-related medical clinic, and martial arts school to teach the Southern praying mantis techniques. This would be the first of many such schools established by Lam Sang to disseminate the art throughout the world. When the Japanese occupied Hong Kong in the early 1940s as part of the Second World War, Lam Sang was forced to leave mainland China. He traveled first to England before settling in New York City's Chinatown district, where he taught Kung Fu and practiced medicine for many decades, and was associated with organizations such as the Hip Sing Tong, and later, by the 1960s, the Hung Ching, or Chinese Association of Freemasons. Although his death in 1991 left a tremendous void in the Chinese martial arts community, Lam Sang's impact on that community worldwide was enormous, as he elevated a once relatively obscure and complex martial style to a state of global recognition. Sifu Robert Lee, who studied with Grandmaster Lam Sang for over 10 years, was able to transmit the art to Sifu James Cama, who is the current chief instructor of the Hung Ching Association in New York City. Sifu Kama has practiced the martial arts for 40 years, studying under such legendary teachers as Master Sung Duk Sung, Master Leong Shum, and Master Peter Urban, the founder of USA Goju Karate. His background in Wing Chun Kung Fu, another powerful fighting system from southern China, is extensive. Although Sifu Kama trained in Wing Chun with the late Master Mo Yat, a top disciple of Yip Man, considered the style's most prominent figure in the modern era, he is a closed-door disciple of Foot Sao Wing Chun Grandmaster Henry Leung. Sifu Kama holds the distinction of being the only instructor certified to teach the whole Buddha Hand Wing Chun system by Grandmaster Leung. It was in 1993 that James Cama, already intrigued by the Southern Praying Mantis style, had a chance encounter that led to his immersion in the system. He met Sifu Robert Lee, a student of Grandmaster Lam Sang, and began intensive training in the Southern Mantis techniques. The style stresses short force power generation, pinpoint striking of vital points, extensive sensitivity drills, and internal body conditioning. Some of the more traditional training methods are seldom seen in most systems today, such as sticking hands practice on precarious wooden benches, or forms practice with 100 pounds of cast iron rings adorning the arms. On a recent visit to New York City's Chinatown district, we decided to drop in on the New York chapter of the Chinese Freemasons Athletic Organization. The Kung Fu instructor for the New York Ching, Sifu James Kama, occupies the teaching position once held by Grandmaster Lam Sang. With a wealth of traditional martial arts experience and many devoted students, Sifu Kama is nevertheless an increasingly rare type of individual. A man who has spent the majority of his life both learning and trying to preserve time-honored fighting skills.
This system of Southern Mantis from Lam Sang's lineage is very internal, and it also has a great deal of sensitivity. We deal with the chi body or cotton body as opposed to the iron jacket type system of mantis, and it deals with hands that are constantly in motion, constantly moving, constantly live. There's not a lot of dead space. They're constantly searching and entering into the opponent. So that's the main difference between, let's say, Lam Sang's mantis and other styles of Southern mantis. There's a lot of people say, well, Southern Mantis doesn't have anything to do with Mantis. It's just, a Phoenix Eye system, a Haka system that's very similar to White Eyebrow and Wing Chun. And in the beginning, in the very beginning,